If you're watching this video, you're probably in the same boat as me. You love Rolexes, but you don't have Rolex money, and that's okay because there are watches on the market called homage watches that are made to look very similar to your luxury watch brands. But how good are homage watches? Is this something that you should be spending your money on, or should you stick with the affordable and reputable brands like Seiko? In this video, I'll be going over the 4 most popular homage watch brands, and I'll be going over everything you need to know. So hopefully at the end of this video, you'll know whether or not these watches are worth spending your money on. So keep watching. Let's start off with the lowest price homage watch first and then move our way up. This is the Benyar watch that comes in this lizard scale rectangular box. Let's take a look inside. This watch retails for $55 and it pays homage to the Rolex Explorer. The watch comes in weighing in at 145 grams. Case diameter is 41 millimeters, thickness is 14 millimeters, lug to lug is 50 millimeters, and lug width is 20 millimeters. So this watch is a lot chunkier than the Explorer and it's not even close. The glass is a regular mineral glass, which is no surprise for a watch at this price. This is supposedly stainless steel, or stainless steel as Benyar likes to call it. The case is completely polished on the front, sides, and back. It has the Mercedes hour hand, large 369 numbers on the face just like the Explorer, and your standard screw down crown at the 3 o'clock. It's water resistant of up to 50 millimeters, but honestly I wouldn't go swimming with this, let alone diving. Moving on to the straps, the strap is brushed throughout with the deployant clasps, and there's no micro adjustments or half links, so this will either fit you or not. The contrast between the brush straps and polished casing is just way too big of a difference. Doesn't blend well at all. That huge contrast makes it look like the strap is made out of completely different type of steel. Really makes this watch look very cheap. For the movement, this is a no-name automatic movement. It's nothing special. I really don't think it's all that accurate, but it works, so no complaints. For $55, you can't expect a high quality automatic movement. The see-through caseback is always a plus. I have no life, so I just like staring at watch movements all day, and this movement looks beautiful. Let's check out the lume. After shining my light at it for about 90 seconds, it looks pretty good at first glance, but when you take a closer look, you can see it's a little grainy, especially at the 12 o'clock position. It's fading pretty fast as well, so the lume is definitely not very good, but that's standard for watches at this price point. So how does it fit? For reference, my wrist is 6 3/4 inches, and to no surprise, it looks pretty fat on me. If you take a look at a side view, the case is a little too straight, so you see those gaps between the watch and my wrist. The contrast between the case and the strap is really bothering me. It just looks like a cheap watch because it is a cheap watch. Overall, I give it a 4 out of 10. Hopefully the next 3 watches are better. The next watch I have is from Lige. This also comes in a lizard scale texture box. I honestly really like their logo. It reminds me of those logos from Transformers. Anyways, let's take a look inside. This is a 2-tone blue and gold diver watch. This pays homage to the Rolex Submariner and it retails for $70. It comes in weighing at 143 grams, diameter is 40.5 millimeters, case thickness is 13 millimeters, lug to lug is 47 millimeters, lug width is 20 millimeters. The dimensions are spot on compared to the Rolex Submariner, so that's a very good sign. The case is brushed with polishing on the sides. I like the 2-tone blue and gold. I think that's a great color combination. This is a mineral glass and not sapphire crystal. It has a ceramic oyster style bezel. This is a unidirectional bezel with 60 clicks. The bezel feels smooth, no problem turning this even with my thick winter gloves. It has the crown guards and a golden screw down crown. It has Mercedes style hour hand. The date magnification on this is not that great, but it's still legible. It's water resistant of up to 10 atmospheres or 100 meters, but just like the Benyar watch, I don't recommend going swimming with the cheap homage watch. Let's move on to the strap. The strap is completely brushed with a polished deployant clasp and a safety catch. It has 5 additional increments of micro adjustments with 2 half links as well, so that's a big plus over the Benyar watch. One downside to the straps is at the ends. I noticed that they forgot to brush a tiny part of the strap, so the texture doesn't look consistent. But overall, I like the look of this strap. The brush finish gives it a nice matte look so it doesn't look loud, and the tapering on the strap gives it a nice silhouette. For the movement, this is an automatic movement. Just like the Benyar watch, this is a generic no-name movement, so you shouldn't expect too much out of it. But it works and I have no complaints. Probably not the most accurate movement, but for $70, it's fine with me. First thing I noticed with this watch when I picked it up is that the wheel is loud. Listen to this. You can really hear it spin, and not really a fan of all that noise it makes. For the lume, you see blue on the indices and a lighter tone of blue on the hour and minute hand. The lume on the indices doesn't look that great, it's very grainy and far from smooth, but the lume on the hour and minute hand is brighter and looks smoother, so that's the important thing. Obviously the lume isn't going to last you very long, so don't expect too much. So how does it fit? For reference, my wrist is 6 3/4 inches and I think it looks great. It fits very well. The half links and micro adjustments really makes this watch a good fit for any wrist size. Here's a side view. One complaint I have is that the case is really straight, so it creates these gaps between my wrist and the watch. But other than that, I think this is a great looking homage watch. My final verdict, this isn't a bad watch. Dimensions are pretty spot on, and overall it does look like the Submariner, but with a few minor differences, and the price isn't that bad at only $70. So overall I'll give this watch a 7 out of 10, a lot better than the Benyar watch. Next watch we have is from Cadisen. This is a really cheap looking box. They didn't even bother to engrave their logo on the lid. It just says watch. First impressions are very important, and it starts from the box, and judging from this, I'm expecting this watch to be absolute crap, but I hope I'm wrong. Let's take a look inside. This is the Cadisen that pays homage to the AP Royal Oak, and it retails for $110. It weighs in at 185 grams, which makes it a very fat watch. Gotta lay off the Krispy Kremes. Case diameter is 45 millimeters, thickness is 12 millimeters, lug to lug is 52 millimeters, and bandwidth is 24 millimeters, and it tapers down to 20 millimeters. Just from the measurements, this watch is like a freaking giant meteor. It is big. For reference, here are the other homage watches side by side. Now that's crazy. So this watch comes with a lot of different colors and patterns. The one I have is in a blue waffle pattern. If you Google blue waffle, you'll see a lot of cool watches with this pattern, so check that out after this video. They also have smooth blue and black faces and not waffle pattern if you're into that. You see the Cadisen logo, fixed bezel, and signature 8 screws, but I'm pretty sure these aren't real screws that are holding down the bezel. It's mostly just for looks. This is faux stainless steel bezel. It has a water resistance of up to 100 meters. It has brushing on the vertical sides and a high polish on the angular chamfers. Let's move on to the strap. It's polished throughout with the deploying claps. The links are very big and there's 2 half links and no micro adjustments, so the fit is gonna be a hit or miss. The strap width starts at 24 millimeters and tapers down to 20 millimeters, which I find funny because usually straps start at 20 millimeters and then taper down, but this watch ends at 20 millimeters. For the movement, this is an automatic Seiko NH36 movement according to the description on Amazon, which is a plus because it's gotta be accurate and quiet and reliable. It's very impressive to think how Seiko was able to create such a solid automatic movement at such a low cost. By far, the movement is the best thing about this watch. At first glance, the lume on the indices look pretty good, but the biggest flaw are the lumes on the hour, minute, and second hands. You can clearly see that the lume on the indices are a lot brighter than the minute, hour, and seconds, which is sad because if I wanted to see what time it is at night, I would rather have the minute, hour, and second hand lumes be brighter than the indices. But the lume doesn't last very long anyway, so either way you're not going to know what time it is at night. This is pretty standard for watches at this price range. As expected, the 45mm case diameter, it's covering my entire wrist. It's not a good looking watch on me. I'm absolutely shocked at how fat this watch is. It looks like it's made for competitive arm wrestlers. Everything from the case to the strap width is not looking good. This is hands down the ugliest watch I've ever tried on. For my final verdict, the Seiko inch movement is definitely a big plus, but other than that, everything about this watch is a huge miss. I guess it kind of looks like the AP Royal Oak, but everything from the fit, dimensions, this is a terrible watch, especially for $110. I'll give this watch a 2 out of 10. Last but not least, we have the Corgeut watch, which I'm very happy to see that their logo is on the lid, so that's a good sign. Let's take a look inside. This is the Corgeut watch that pays homage to the Omega Seamaster. It's the most expensive out of all 4 watches, retailing at $125. It weighs in at 145 grams, case diameter 41 millimeters, thickness is 11.6 millimeters, lug to lug is 47.6 millimeters, lug width is 20 millimeters, and the strap tapers down to 18 millimeters. So this watch is the smallest out of all 4. It's very slim and perfect for people who have smaller wrists. Unlike the other 3 watches, this does have the sapphire crystal glass, which is a big plus. This is self-winding with resistance of up to 50 meters. It has a brushed finish on the face and polish on the sides. I'm really feeling the vertical brushed blue face. I think this makes it look more professional and clean. This is your typical screw down crown. The first thing I noticed about this watch is that the crown doesn't go down all the way. You can still see a little bit of the screw sticking out. I played around with this watch for about an hour and I just can't screw down the crown any more than this. I'm thinking this might be defective because I really don't think it's supposed to be like this. Moving on to the straps, it has a brush finishing on the outer links and the polished finish on the middle links. Brush finishing looks very smooth and the strokes are consistent. Craftsmanship on the strap looks great. This has a butterfly clasp and it does have half links, so you'll get the perfect fit. Again, this strap does taper down from 20 millimeters to 18 millimeters. On the back, you'll notice an exhibition case back, which always looks cool. The movement is a Miyota 8215. It's a great movement but very precise and accurate with a lot of history behind it, so that's a big plus. It's also worth noting that the glass on the back is mineral and not sapphire crystal like the front, but that's okay. It's the front where it's more prone to scratches. Just like the Lige watch, the wheel is pretty loud when it spins. So that's something to watch out for. Let's move on to the lume. The hand looks really good. It's a lot brighter than the indices, which is what matters the most. The lume looks smooth and clear, not grainy like the other homage watches. The indices will fade first, but the minute and hour will still go strong after. But don't expect this to last all night. Out of all 4 watches, the fit on this watch is my favorite. It's not big and bulky, it's sleek and looks great in both a casual or a professional setting. The half links are a big plus for that perfect fit. It's very comfortable against the wrist, it's lightweight, and I really like the tapering on the strap. The only issue is that the crown won't screw down all the way, and I really don't know why. Overall, I give this watch a 6.5 out of 10. I think everything besides the screw down crown is done very well. This is the most expensive out of all 4, but I think you really get your money's worth. It has a nice Miyota movement, the dimensions are spot on, the brushing on this is smooth, and it looks great on the wrist. This really does justice to the Omega Seamaster and at only 1% of the cost of a real Seamaster. Now, which is the best and which is the worst? Let's start off with the worst. I'm very disappointed with the Cadisen watch, especially with the $110 price tag. For $110, you get a fat bulky watch that barely resembles the AP Royal. Straps are too wide and there's no half links, so the watch either fits you or it doesn't. The craftsmanship overall is very sloppy, the dimensions are way off, so unless you have forearms like a professional arm wrestler, this is not going to look good on you. The second worst is the Benyar watch. The only reason why this is not the worst on my list is because this is only $50, so you can't expect much with that price point. At first glance, it does look like the Explorer, but the dimensions are way off. It's too bulky on the wrist and it does not look good. There's no half links, so the fit is not going to be great. Another big flaw is that the straps looks like it's made from an entirely different type of steel. The brush finish on the strap is way too contrasting to the case. Overall, it's not a well-made watch. Moving up on my list, my second favorite is the Corgeut. The dimensions are spot on, it looks great. The craftsmanship isn't sloppy, it has a Miyota movement, and it's the only watch with a sapphire crystal glass. I think for $125 is not a bad price for an automatic homage watch. If it wasn't for the screw down crown issue, this would easily be my favorite. Last but not least, my favorite is the Lige watch. The dimensions are spot on, looks great, it fits nicely and feels comfortable on my wrist. The only issue was the inconsistent brushstroke at the end of the links, but other than that, for $70, this is a great choice, so I definitely recommend this as the best homage watch on the market. And that's it for this week's video. If this video helped you out, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
See you next time. Pew.